Horror and slasher film fans have high standards for the level of fright delivered on screen. While other genres rely on the protagonist to move the story along, horror movies depend on the antagonist. The background of the antagonist isn't necessarily important, nor is how they torture or kill their victims. Instead, the look of the villain is what will spark fear in the audience. Additionally, how they are revealed for the first time is critical to the film's trajectory. Also known as the Jaws rule. This most sacred rule refers to the classic horror film Jaws, in which the shark's presence is felt throughout the film, but is revealed moments before its ultimate demise. Other elements in a horror film can make or break it, though. Because horror flicks are focused on their antagonist, the storyline and action have to align. Otherwise, the film will be disappointing and leave audiences forlorn. The judgment audiences give to horror film determines if it reaches the Horror Movie Hall of Fame, like The Exorcist, or it becomes a franchise, like Saw. As much glory as a film can achieve, the opposite is just as likely to happen. Plenty of horror movies exist, yet too many are detested and soon forgotten. Thankfully, Netflix has 20 underrated horror films that deserve a rewatch. Number 20, The Wretched. Critics of the film claim it's disorderly, and the ending is perplexing. Yet The Wretched deserves a second chance simply because the creepy moments in the film are especially haunting. In the film, Ben, John Paul Howard, is in the middle of his parents' divorce. To add to this stressor, the family's neighbor is being possessed by a witch on a vengeful mission. Number 19. 47 Meters Down. Despite 47 meters only being 154 feet and 2 inches deep, the main complaint with the film is the dialogue. Although giving 47 meters down another shot may prove to be a good idea. Lisa, Mandy Moore, and Kate, Claire Holt, go exploring in a shark cage that gets detached from the boat. This Sisters on Vacation film has a lot of startling moments, making it a good way to dive into horror flicks. Number 18, The Munsters. The highly anticipated rendering of The Munsters from rock star director Rob Zombie didn't go over well with critics or audiences. Considering Zombie's love of gore, fans of him and the show were disappointed at the film's overall content. In the spirit of second chances though, the film remains faithful to the series' wholesomeness. For anyone seeking a nostalgic movie, The Munsters is a great choice. Number 17. Things Heard and Seen. A Netflix adaptation of an Elizabeth Brundage novel. Things Heard and Seen has been given a massive thumbs down by audiences. The biggest criticism is the script being uninspired as well as a baffling ending. For those willing, Things Heard and Seen deserves a watch for the thrills as well as the actors. Horror actress extraordinaire Natalia Dyer from Stranger Things portrays Willis along with versatile actress Amanda Seyfried, who portrays Catherine. Number 16, Prom Night. A remake of a classic bloody thriller failed to entertain patrons. They objected to the below-budget shots and a villain who is more like a Scooby-Doo protagonist. Yet in the spirit of second chances, Prom Night could be viewed for its place in horror rather than comparing it to the original film. The film is also a treat for Brittany Snow, Pitch Perfect fans, who stars in the film as Donna. Number 15, Tremors, Shrieker Island. Within the horror genre, several villains stand out due to their scariness or creepiness in the film. Regardless of their essence, most antagonists are bipedals, but in the Tremors franchise, the villains are giant earthworms. Critics dislike Tremors, Shrieker Island for its lack of originality. But it's worth checking out simply because it's part of a franchise that will fill the void for any Dune fans. As Inverse claims. Number 14. Eli. Another Netflix production that left audiences wanting more was Eli. The film starts off strong, but as the plot unravels, the audience felt they were left with a big mess over a satisfying ending. Despite the critics, Eli is worth the rewatch for risking it all on all the fun aspects in horror. Furthermore, the film is brimming with all the jump scares one could want. Number 13, I, Frankenstein. As the Pace Press explains, The Frankenstein monster has a 2-century legacy that causes us to reflect on our own monstrous traits. This self-reflection may be the contributing factor to Frankenstein's monster being so misunderstood. In I, Frankenstein, the graphic novel to film adaptation grapples with the misrepresentation of the monster. The film is worth a second chance because the monster is made into a savior figure rather than a destructive figure. Number 12, The Whole Truth. A common antagonist in horror films is the possessed or creepy child. Quibblers of The Whole Truth find the use of the creepy child lacking in an already mundane movie. Yet this supernatural flick has more to offer than a haunting child. The Whole Truth is full of twists and turns that give balance to the supernatural elements. Number 11. Doom. Audiences are familiar with Dwayne Johnson's career as a wrestler-turned-actor with his casting in the Mummy franchise. But they may not realize his early films were mainly action and horror films, like Doom. The film is based on a video game that is FPS, or first-person shooter. In addition to Johnson's epic performance, the monsters and imagery in the film are excellent. Number 10, Hospital. In this Chinese horror flick, two sisters and Taoist priests conduct a seance in a haunted hospital. The negative commentary of the film may boil down to cultural differences regarding what makes up a horror film. Many Chinese horror films, like Hospital, concentrate on medical mishaps like improper medication or a villain wearing a latex mask. Keeping this as well as the boundaries of what Chinese film is allowed to show, giving Hospital another shot is definitely worth it. Number 9, The Babysitter, Killer Queen. Director MCG's The Babysitter was so well received, the sequel was anticipated to do just as well. In The Babysitter, Killer Queen, Cole, Judah Lewis, is in the midst of combat with the satanic cult he defeated years earlier. The sequel maintains its fun but murderous tone set in the initial film. Additionally, the original cast reunited for the film, which is always a treat for audiences. Number 8, Bulbalaya II. Much like the aforementioned Chinese horror film Hospital, the criticism of the acclaimed Indian film Bulbalaya II boils down to cultural differences in the definition of horror. American horror relies on gore and jump scares to enhance the creepiness of a film, whereas Indian horror films use folklore as a starting point to create nightmare-esque creatures. Bulbalaya II is a horror comedy that raises the bar for the genre itself as well as Indian horror films. Number 7. Blood Red Sky. According to Live Science, vampires are a cross-cultural phenomenon with varying forms and means of being defeated. While vampires are a recurring antagonist in horror films, they are expected to appear in a specific light with American audiences. The German film Blood Red Sky received criticism for being riddled with plot holes. Yet the film is worth a rewatch for vampire and horror fans alike for its slow-paced suspense. Number 6, Choose or Die. Yet another Netflix horror film that garnered less than positive raves from audiences. Choose or Die, as the critics believe, should be a great horror film but fails to deliver on every level. Though the film is deserving of a second chance from audiences for its storyline. Fans of the film enjoy the marriage between 80s and modern age technologies that result in a suspenseful film. Number 5, Day of the Dead, Bloodline. Zombies, also known as ghouls or the undead, first appeared on screen in 1932's White Zombie. According to Looper, the film isn't given its due justice because it was too grisly for audiences' tastes. Since then, zombies have been as abundant in horror as other monsters. If the undead are a preferred antagonist, then Day of the Dead, Bloodline needs to be added to your Netflix queue. Number 4, Till Death. Plenty of actresses have been labeled as difficult for standing up for themselves. When the public hears this, they criticize these actresses and their projects without remorse. Among the negative reviews for Till Death are direct criticisms of lead actress Megan Fox, who has been labeled as difficult. Yet the film, as well as Fox, is exciting and full of thought-provoking twists. Number 3, Sabrina. It's likely that the creepiest antagonist in a horror film is a child's porcelain doll. The most recent doll introduced to audiences was M3 Gone from M3 Gone, an AI-powered doll who turns murderous. But before AI and dolls merged, the Indonesian film Sabrina features a possessed doll. The film joins the horror genre with humor and thrills. Number 2, He Never Died. With an ominous title like He Never Died, it would be safe to assume audiences' positive accolades. Yet critics of the film blamed lead actor Henry Rollins for the poorly executed script. The film is worthy of a rewatch for Rollins' comedic timing in a horror film. Additionally, He Never Died has plenty of shocking and suspenseful moments between the jokes. Number 1, The Invitation. Another vampire-centric film that deserves a second chance is The Invitation. Evie, Natalie Emmanuel, has just lost her mother, but due to a DNA test, she discovers a long-lost cousin. They meet at a wedding where Evie meets a sensual man who has a dark secret. Fans of the film rave on the menacing plot by her family as well as the man she meets during her trip. So that's 20 most underrated horror movies on Netflix that deserve a second chance. I hope you like this video and please subscribe this channel. See you in another video. Bye.